Hello, this is a bit overdue, but in my initial YouTube channel launch, I talked that we're going to do an action learning movie about 3D printing, and we have started. So I just assembled the 3D printer, which you can see here. Even before doing the project that I had in mind, about which we would do the video, as soon as I started to talk about 3D printing, people started to tell me, Mohammed, can you 3D print this for me? Mohammed, how about this? I need this. I'm missing this little item that I cannot find. So this first video is about showing just how having a 3D printer and talking about it can already generate some interest, and I'm going to show you how and what I have done about it in these last few days that I set up the printer. The first thing I'm going to show you is that as soon as my neighbor heard that I had a 3D printer, he sent me a file. So I'm going to show you on my screen some cool stuff. So here on my screen I got an STL file which is about 3D printing. It's the format we use, and this is huge. This is huge, as you can see here. I'm using, by the way, Prusa slicer, which is the free slicer that you get when you work with Prusa. It works very well with this printer. And here, of course, this is too big, but you can see that it's a funnel, and I can just change the size here. I move to 50%, I enter, and I think that I can 3D print this on my little printer. And this can be used, I can turn it around, this can be used to feed rice or sand into a bottle. And as you can see here, my friend and neighbor already designed it to work with a local bottle. So he already has the system to lock into it, and then you can squeeze it in and then feed into the bottle. So I'll show you once I 3D print the result, but this is just one example of how we can create value for our community, in this case my neighbor. But I've done some other stuff. As you can see here, I 3D printed 3 of these. And what is this? This is actually, I encountered the problem, I'm building a local small AI data center in our little office here in a little island in the Indian Ocean. And I noticed that when you use heavy GPU cards, like the one I have right here, which I will show you, it's actually so heavy that you will need a support to hold the card. Otherwise, the card is so heavy that it's gonna apply some pressure and weight on the PCIe port, and maybe after a few months with the weight, it may break or damage the motherboard. So I got this from Thingiverse. I will show you where I got it, which is super cool. It's actually a adjustable GPU holder, and it's 3D printed in 2 pieces. These first little 3D printed pieces, which takes a long time to screw in, but I'm getting it out to show you guys. Here it is. So this is the part that makes it adjustable, and this is the holder itself, and it has a very good base and it prints really well. And now I can put it back here and place it into my GPU so that it can actually hold the GPU for me. So I 3D printed 3 of them, 2 for this computer and 3 for a friend of mine that has a similar setup and suffers the same problem. So this is the second problem that I'm able to solve just by the fact of having the 3D printer at my disposal. So this is again part of our idea and theme, which we call the tabletop industrial revolution. And I've done some other things. Actually, I'm looking at some other things. I'm going to show you on my screen my next ideas, and hopefully you can advise me and give some feedback on what we could do next. But if I go here on my screen and now I switch to my browser, what I use and what you can use as well for 3D printing needs, anytime you need something, you can go to Thingiverse, and whatever you need here in Thingiverse, you can type it and search for it. So you can have, I don't know, maybe a door handle that you broke, and then I just search for the door handle, and then it's going to give me plenty of door handles for small glass doors, little doors, wood doors. You have all these things that I could 3D print here in different colors. So many nice things that we could do with 3D printing. But the next thing that I'm looking at, and with the AI data center, and I'm using now a gaming PC motherboards, but I also have here a professional RTX A4000 GPU card. So that's for training AI models and doing deep learning. So I have the professional card, but the non-professional cards, the gamer cards, they need some very good cooling system. So I'm looking here at my screen and I search on Thingiverse, and I find this what looks like a nice fan duct system that someone has done here, Ninemaker. Ninemaker designed this to actually put a fan and push the air through the GPU cards and to get a better airflow for all the hot air that these GPU cards are producing. So I'm gonna experiment with this. That's one cool thing. I was also looking at, separating my setup of a GPU card, a powerful GPU card, and putting it like in a data cabinet. So I'm gonna set up a data cabinet, and maybe in it I can put 2, 3, 4, 5 small standing setups for a server. And I'm looking here at my screen, I'm looking at an open frame case for a computer. So it has a fan, it holds the motherboard, it holds the power supply, and it holds the graphic card, and it's an open air design, so the air can move around the card. So that's also something that I'm looking at and I'm going to experiment with. The GPU holder that I showed you right here, I'm going to show you on my screen how I got it. So I also find it here on Thingiverse, and this is done by Jetstorm_3D. And you can see here, it looks super cool. It has this nice design. And what I'm going to do next, in the next video, just to show you a little bit some basics of 3D design. I'm not a programmer, I'm not a designer, but I am able, using Tinkercad, which is free and even usable by kids. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of merchandising, which is the nice part with 3D printing, is that not only you can produce little items, repair your stuff, even create new products, but you can also use it very nicely for merchandising. So I have this stand, but I want to customize it to our new brand. So maybe I'm going to put it here. I'm going to do a small Artilla, a triangle that I can fit in here, or I'm going to do another triangle with another brand. I'm going to use what we are doing right now in Mauritius, deploying AI automation on premises. So AIA, AI automation. I'm going to do an AIA logo, and then maybe if I can fit here on premises, that's going to be the next video. And this is just a first step to show you about, again, the tabletop industrial revolution opportunities and how you can actually start without too much knowledge. So let's look at the next video and how I do it for this little merchandising for our little triangle with some branding here. Thank you. See you on the next one.